Now, for more on these demonstrations, we have reached Lisa Gilbert. She is a co-president of Public Citizen, a nonprofit advocacy organization focusing on democracy, health, and safety. She joins us now in Washington. First off, thank you for taking the time. I want to start with the demonstrations this weekend, spurred on after that altercation between ISIS agents, with ISIS agents, I should say, that led to the death of Renee Good. But first off, with regards to today's protests, how many people are you expecting to come out?
A massive number, and thank you so much for having me on to talk about this. We are holding peaceful vigils all around the country this weekend at over 1,000 locations. This came together in just 2 days in response to the atrocity that we all witnessed that you were just speaking about, and just shows the sheer magnitude of the outrage. So thousands and thousands of people will be at these 1,000 locations around the country.
Renee Good's death, obviously a flashpoint of growing unrest between some Americans' thoughts on the enforcement agency, certainly. But what is it about this specific incident? Because it's not the only one of reported violence from ICE agents that really has led to this large-scale reaction.
I think this has really struck a chord because it is an issue that is impacting all Americans right now. We all understand very viscerally that no one in America should walk the streets in fear. We shouldn't be worried about being disappeared by masked agents, being shot for lawful protesting, or facing intimidation and violence for just being a good neighbor. I think the systematic pattern of ICE abuse that we've seen over the last many months and weeks really has struck people to their core. And this particular incident was a devastating and unfortunately quite predictable result of the lawlessness we've all been experiencing. And I think people really are feeling like they've had enough with this abuse of power that they're witnessing.
Certainly, I'm sure the way it is played over and over and over again on many screens, whether they're television screens, phone screens, computer screens, has certainly led to much of this animosity as well. There are a lot of people that are looking at these protests over the last few days and through this weekend and saying that these aren't necessarily about the actions of ICE agents as much as they are anti-law enforcement. What would you say to that criticism?
I would say it's simply not true. The intent of these solidarity actions, called ICE Out for Good in honor of Renee Good, is to honor and humanize the lives taken by ICE and to demand the immediate accountability and transparency and independent investigation into the killing that this warrants, as well as expose that broader pattern I was talking about of bad and violent behavior. These actions are nonviolent and lawful and community-led and just grounded in this sort of moment of morality and public accountability and care. So I would say it's simply not accurate to characterize them that way.
You touched on a little bit about of what some of the goals of these protests are, and I'd like to go deeper into that. Democratic mayors and governors are calling for the withdrawal of federal agents from their cities, arguing that their presence kind of sows chaos. It creates needless tension in the streets. So what more are you looking for in terms of a response from government officials here?
I think we're looking for, first and foremost, honor and humanizing what's been happening. But then beyond that, we are calling on ICE to leave our communities. We want to, in addition, investigate, as I mentioned, and understand. There needs to be independent investigation of the sort that AG Keith Ellison has launched. As one of your reporters was mentioning earlier, the lack of cooperation on the part of the federal government is abhorrent when we've seen a murder of one of our citizens. And so we need to investigate, and the state should be empowered and allowed to do so. And then finally, we are making space to ensure that no future funding will go to entities like ICE. We'd like to have the congressional allies we have fight on that front.
Realistically, though, how confident are you of achieving those goals, whether we're talking by the end of this weekend or any time in the short-term future?
I think some of them are very achievable, including the investigation point. We've been calling for it, and we've seen attorneys general at the state and local level responding. So hopeful that more of that will proceed as they sort of crowdsource footage and seek to get to the bottom of what happened. I think the longer term goals, trying to shift funding, obviously harder, but we're at a flashpoint and people are outraged. And I think this is the moment to ask and push.
Did you There are people now that are sort of looking at this and saying that an event like the death of Renee Good, with all the tensions on the streets, was, some people have called it inevitable. I mean, did you think it was a matter of time before something like this happened?
I do. ICE has been escalating its cruel deployments into our communities, and this killing, it's not an isolated incident. Folks have unfortunately already been killed in detention. She is simply the latest, and it's a devastating but fairly predictable result of lawless, untrained operations all around our country. And unfortunately, again, it stands as a proxy for the abuse of power that President Trump has been perpetrating in many different areas.
Okay, Lisa Gilbert, co-president of Public Citizen in Washington. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.